Hi and welcome to Rental with Tim. I'm Tim. I'm glad you're here, so thanks for tuning in. On today's video, I got a shoe comparison for you. Now these are two daily trainers that were both released for 2021 and both by Hoka. It's the Rincon 3 and the Mach 4.
Be on my way, but I'll come around swinging when the fire's all burned out. It's hard to believe in love, so never let your guard down.
Now both of these are lightweight daily trainers that can pretty much do it all. But before I get into it too far, I always like to demonstrate what it looks like to run in the shoes that I'm about to review for you. So let's do that. But then when we come back together, I'm going to take a real deep dive as we compare the Rincon 3 with the Hoka Mach 4 to try to answer that all-important question, which shoe is right for you?
I wanna wake you up in the middle of the night. Where have you gone? I'm missing you lately. You're sitting right there, but so far away. Where do we go? Nobody knows. We'll have to see how this story goes. 'Cause I've been looking for forgiveness. I try to be the best I can. I wanna wake you up in the middle of the night. I wanna stay right here for the rest of my life. So I keep on believing the hurting is gone. I know I'm right where I belong. Hey, what about you? Straight from the heart, I'll always be waiting right here for you to come along and give me strength to carry on. We keep waiting for tomorrow, trying to find a better way. I wanna wake you up in the middle of the night. I wanna stay right here for the rest of my life. So I keep on believing.
Now the Mach 4 is the more expensive of the two options. They come in at $130 US. They're also the heavier of the two shoes. They weighed exactly 8 ounces for a US men's size 9 on my scales, or 226 grams, while the Rincon 3, now their stated weight for a US men's size 9 is 7.2 ounces or 204 grams. But I ordered mine a half size down, and I'm really glad that I did because they fit me perfectly. Now for a US 8.5, on my scales, they came in at just 6.9 ounces or 196 grams. If you're new to the channel, welcome to the Rental family. I'm really glad you're here. Now I post running shoe reviews and comparisons as well as shoe battles weekly, but I also like to post other videos that are related to running as well. So if you enjoy watching running shoe reviews and other videos about running, be sure to subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell so that you'll be notified each time that I upload new content. Now this video is not intended to be a full review of either shoe, but if you want to check that out, I'll put a link in the description below to reviews that I've completed for each one previously. So let's take a look at the uppers. I'm going to start with the Hoka Mach 4 first. Now this has a bit of a cloth type feeling to it. It has lots of perforations up there in the toe box. Now I felt like there's plenty of room here, primarily with the depth of the toe box, but also in the width as well. So lots of room to be able to splay my toes. Now this for me, with the Hoka Mach 4, has to be one of the most comfortable uppers that Hoka's put out to date, at least for me anyway. The fit is perfect for me. Again, this is a US men's size 9. Had a nice lockdown feeling across the midfoot section of the shoe and a solid heel cup back here that I got locked into, so I didn't have any heel slippage in this at all. I just think it's a fantastic upper. Hoka did a really nice job in building the Mach 4. Now with the Rincon 3, now this has a very similar feeling in terms of the touch of the material here. Again, a bit of a cloth-like feeling, so a little bit different than what you've experienced in Rincon 1 or 2. Now these have more of a vented type of a situation here, so it's, you know, the perforations are elongated, and for me it does look much more like a vented system. I did find that the Rincon 3 does feel a little bit cooler on foot to run in. Not quite as much room up in the toe box, especially with the depth of the toe box. So if you have a thicker foot, you might notice that in the Rincon 3. Also, on the lateral side of the shoe, it does seem to be a bit more of an aggressive curve there. So I do feel like material kind of brushing up against the side of my pinky toes on both of my feet. But so far, I haven't had any hot spots, and I've had these out for about 40 miles now, a couple 10-mile runs. I've had them out on treadmill, things like that. So haven't had any issues, coming up with some wear spots or hot spots that cause any kind of blistering or concerns for me. But they do feel a little bit more comfortable in terms of breathability, up there in the toe box, some airflow. And then again, they have those perforations or that vented system coming back to just about where the start of the eyelet chain is. Also in the Rincon 3, felt really comfortable back in the heel. Nice, well-defined heel pocket for you to heel to set in. Felt nice, locked in and secure across the midfoot section, but a little bit more so in the Mach 4. Now both shoes feature a classic eyelet chain style here, so no big wow factor, but it does get the job done in both cases. The one noticeable difference is with the Mach 4, they do have this extra loop here to run your laces through, and that's to reduce any kind of bunching that you get up here in the toe box, give you a nice, snug, secure, lockdown feeling. And then they do have the extra plastic overlays around the eyelets, give it a little bit of durability so you don't have to worry about your laces pulling through, and they did include that extra eyelet in case you want to run with a runner's knot. And then with the Rincon 3, we can see that, again, they didn't add that extra loop here, but I didn't have any bunching up in the toe box. They did a really good job when they designed the upper for the Rincon 3, so the fit is good. And they do also have the extra plastic overlays around the eyelets, again, giving it a little bit of durability with that additional eyelet, again, in case you want to run with a runner's knot. Checking out the tongue now, starting with the Mach 4. It's lightly padded. I'd say the amount of padding in both shoes is pretty darn close to one another, so they're both pretty thin. One of the biggest differences, however, is with the Mach 4. It does have a semi-gusset, so you're not going to have any kind of migration with the tongue moving around. Laid flat across my foot. Didn't have any issues with it that way. And then with the Rincon 3, again, it's maybe a little bit thinner on the Rincon 3, but not much. Overall, the thickness of the padding of the tongue is really about the same, but they're both really thin. The Rincon 3 is not gusseted. There's no semi-gusset here, but I didn't have any issues with it migrating side to side. The one issue that I do have with the Rincon 3 is it does seem to be just a little bit short, or this notch is just a little bit too deep because your laces want to come right across here at times. So you end up kind of tugging and kind of pulling on, have a little bit of tug of war with the tongue on the Rincon 3. But overall, so far, I haven't really had any big issues with it other than that. It's been really comfortable. Again, it's got wide wings here, so it does lay flat across the midfoot section of my shoe. So I didn't have any big issues with it other than it just feels a little bit short. Now the padding around the heel collar and the tab, they're very similar in terms of the amount of padding. I'd say that they're both moderately padded, both very comfortable to run in. The one big noticeable difference is with the Mach 4, you've got this big Achilles heel flare here that I found to be really comfortable, and you can use this to help get your shoes on because it doesn't feature a pull tab to help you do that. Now with the Rincon 3, again, about the same amount of padding. I did feel like it was really comfortable. Haven't had any issues comfort-wise with the padding. It does have this nice area for your Achilles to rest in, but it does not feature the Achilles heel flare that we see in the Mach 4, but they do have a pull tab to help get your shoes on. So let's check out the insoles on these. Now with the Mach 4, now these are a removable insole. I didn't have any issues. They weren't tacked in at all. And it's fairly thick, so it adds a little bit of comfort to your run experience. And we'll compare that with the Rincon 3. Now these were tacked in just a little bit. There was a spot of glue back here on the heel, but it didn't take a whole lot to be able to pop that out. So if you want to replace these, maybe customize the fit with your own insole, you can do that fairly easily, but just know that it is lightly tacked in. There was only one spot of glue in both shoes, and that was just kind of back in that heel area, and you can kind of see where it's scuffed up just a little bit where I pulled these out. Now these are paper thin, so they're really not adding any comfort to your run experience, but they do get the job done. Now, sometimes what I like to do, and I'm going to do it in this case, is to compare the insoles to kind of get an idea of the volume of the shoes. Now remember that with the Mach 4, this is a US men's size 9, and it fit me perfectly. It fits really well. It's, like I said, one of the best fitting uppers I think that Hoka has made to date for me. And this is the insole out of the Rincon 3. Now this is a men's US 8.5. So I'm going to compare these two so we can get kind of an idea about the size. And when I put these up next to one another, you can see that they're virtually about the same in terms of length, and they're about the same in terms of the width here. Although I have to say that the Rincon 3 does feel more aggressive on that lateral side of the curve, as I mentioned earlier with the upper, just kind of touching my pinky toe just a little bit. Now, overall, though, I would say that the Rincon 3, if you like to replace the insoles in that, it's pretty easy to do. Just know that they're slightly tacked in. So let's check out the heel counter, starting with the Mach 4 first. Here you can see that they have this extra plastic overlay around the heel. And when I try to pinch this together, there is a lot of structure there. It's really difficult to try to pinch that material together. So lots of extra stability for your heel when you just try to pinch it. And then if I try to push forward on it, a lot of extra material that way too. So there's not a lot of give there. So there's a lot of stability built into the heel of the Mach 4. And then if we take a look then at the Rincon 3, as I pinch this together, there's a moderate amount of resistance, but not as much as there is in the Mach 4. And then if I try to push forward on it, again, I would say that it's a decent amount, but just not as much as what you're going to find in the Mach 4. So both shoes, I did feel like they were pretty stable in the heel. There's just a little bit extra going on with the Mach 4. So let's take a look at the midsole. Now both shoes do feature a 29mm stack height in the heel and 24mm up in the forefoot. So both have that 5mm offset that Hoka is pretty well known for. With the Mach 4, here they have really two layers of foam here. They've got their softest, most responsive ProFly foam as their top layer. Super soft, fun to run in, lots of energy return. And then the bottom layer is a rubberized EVA foam. Now that replaces any kind of additional outsole rubber, so they're really relying on that rubberized EVA foam to get the job done for them, to give them some durability. And then if we take a look at the geometry of the shoe, you can see that they have this swallowtail heel design, so it's somewhat extended back here, but I found it to be really comfortable to run in. Both shoes have that early stage meta rocker design. I would say that swallowtail heel has a slightly more aggressive heel bevel than what I find on the Rincon 3. And then both shoes have this additional cutout here toward the midfoot back to the heel section of the shoe that give it just a little bit of a trampoline effect. I don't notice it nearly as much in the Mach 4 as I do in the Rincon 3. So as we take a look at the Rincon 3, here they've got their full-length EVA compressed foam from the heel to the toe, so no two layers. You've just got that EVA foam, but it's soft, it's fun to run in. I don't think it's nearly as cushioned of a feeling as that ProFly foam is, or it doesn't have as much of an energy return as what I find in a ProFly foam either. And as we take a look at the geometry of the shoe, you can see that they have kind of a mini swallowtail heel, so a little bit different than the previous versions of this shoe. So it's just kind of a slight take on what we saw in the Mach 4. They do have this additional cutout here. Now with this groove here back in the heel, I do notice this a lot more in the Rincon 3 than I do in the Mach 4. It just gives a much more of a squish feeling. I feel like my heel is really squishing down quite a bit closer to the ground in the Rincon 3 than it does in the Mach 4. And they too have that early stage meta rocker. Both shoes feel really comfortable moving through my gait cycle as I strike the ground and just flow through. But I do feel like the Mach 4 is a little bit smoother for me when I'm out running. Now the Mach 4 felt terrific right out of the box. That ProFly foam combined with that rubberized EVA foam feels really soft, really responsive, super comfortable to run in, very smooth, and it's a really stable ride. And we'll talk more about that here in just a second. But with the Rincon 3, now for me, it seemed like it took a few miles for that EVA foam to kind of break in just a little bit so that it felt as soft as I thought that it should right from the start. So it took a little bit of break-in period for me, but that's not uncommon for me for other Hoka shoes, like the Clifton, for example, was another shoe where I felt like it took a few miles for that EVA foam to kind of loosen up to get as soft as what I expected it to be right out of the box. So let's flip these over. Now, before I talk about the outsoles, however, I just want to take note of the wide landing platform that each of these shoes have. And it's featured in both of them. Now, with the Rincon 3, now it's a wide platform up in the forefoot, but then it pretty much stays wide all the way through to the heel. With the Hoka Mach 4s, now they are a little bit more of an hourglass design, so a little bit thinner here, but then again, they get wider back in the heel. Both shoes felt really stable to run in. I think the biggest difference for me in terms of the feeling, with the Mach 4, I feel more like I'm gliding across the ground, where with the Rincon 3, I feel like there's a bit more of a bounce as I move through my gait cycle. Now Hoka went about the outsoles quite a bit differently between the Mach 4 and the Rincon 3. Now the Mach 4 features that rubberized EVA foam that doubles as their outsole, so there's no additional blown rubber there at all. With the Rincon 3, now they have a more traditional outsole material here, so you can see that they have their blown rubber. They've got pretty much the entire forefoot covered, so they're protecting that softer EVA foam that you have there in the midsole. Then they have it in the hibration area around the heel. They still have a fair amount of exposed, softer EVA foam in the midfoot section of the shoe, so durability is still a question on the Rincon 3. You know, that's been an issue that runners have had from the very first version of the shoe, that midsole material does seem to wear out pretty quickly when it's not protected by that rubber, or not protected by some blown rubber. So we'll see what the durability is going to be on the Rincon 3. With the Hoka Mach 4, now I've had some pretty good luck so far. You can see somewhere up there in where I toe off, where it's kind of worn right down there. And then back in the heel area, again, you can see, you know, where it's kind of worn thin just a little bit back there as well. But overall, that rubberized EVA foam that they're using for the outsole material on the Mach 4 seems to be holding up pretty well. Now overall, I think both of these shoes make great daily trainers that can pretty much do everything that you need them to do. So you can pick up the pace if you want to, because they're both light enough and quick enough to do that. But if you want to take them out on a longer, slower run, they feel good for that too. So if you're only looking to buy one shoe, I don't think you can go wrong with picking up either one. But for me, I do like the Mach 4 just a little bit better than the Rincon 3. They do weigh a little bit more, and I do like that lightweight feeling of the Rincon 3. But overall, I like the fit of the upper a little bit better. Now they do cost a little bit more, but I feel like they're a little bit softer and a little bit smoother as I move through my gait cycle. Hey, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I enjoyed making it for you. As always, run tall, run strong, be kind to one another. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
I wanna wake you up in the middle of the night. Where have you gone? I'm missing you lately. You're sitting right there.